Morning.
This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Comeau, your host of the Light on Suitability podcast with co-hosts Daryl, Sean, and Michele Garfinkel, who is also an attorney along with myself. And today we want to talk about
how you can best work with your lawyer.
What you're looking for from the lawyer, what you're not looking for from your lawyer, and all of the misconceptions about the role of the lawyer, perhaps, and we'll see where that goes. I think what prompted us to have this conversation was Daryl and Sean receiving calls, this week from guys that were disappointed in the results, getting denied parole, and perhaps placing too much blame on the lawyer for not getting them paroled and or supposedly getting them the long, lengthy denial links. So I'll just go down the line and start with Daryl and his thoughts on what he did to take advantage of his lawyer, what he didn't do perhaps the first time around, not listening to his lawyer, and take it from there.
Good morning, everyone, listeners, family. I want to jump right into this, and I think I was chosen to speak first because I went to the board 8 times, 7 times denied. My 8th time I got found suitable, and I was one of those guys who like to blame people. And when I didn't get found suitable, I thought my lawyer didn't do their job, whether they were my paid attorney or state appointed, because I had both. I did not understand that the preparatory stages that I traveled down, the things that they did to prepare me for the board, I didn't believe that was sufficient. So I thought I was going to have someone go in and argue with people and just, and really represent me. But what I learned is we would have to represent ourselves. And me and Sean learned this. And I learned also, if you don't take the advice from the attorneys who's doing this every single day, you're not going to be prepared. And what I mean is, I go to the board in 5 years, go back in 3 years. I don't know where the board is at, what direction they're in. I don't know what they're looking for. The attorneys are dealing with the board every week. They know what they want. They know what they need. So once I wrapped my brain around that and I started actually listening to my attorney and taking the advice of my attorney before I went to the board, it helped me navigate so that I could be a more suitable person, be more prepared. And it didn't happen initially the first time or the second time. But once I really got it and I started realizing how important it was to be transparent, to be honest, to be forthwith, then I started seeing the light. So what I look for in an attorney, and I advise people today, someone who's going to be upfront with me, who's going to tell me my shortcomings, someone's going to listen to me. And if I don't sound like I'm suitable, tell me so I can change my approach. And I'm gonna come back because I know Sean wants to share something right now. I'll see you looking.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. Me, what I'm looking for, I want to see the interests of the attorney. Like, are you getting me? Are you prepping me way before I go to the board, or are you prepping me the last 30 days? And I've seen that happen. And so, but that's still no excuse for us, right? No, because like you said, when we inside, we like to push the blame off to everybody else. But it's my responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility that's incarcerated to get yourself ready, right? Do your little courses, read your books, go over your insight, your trigger factors, whatever it is, your causative factor. It's up to you to go through all that, because before my attorney came, I already pretty much had everything laid out for her before Elizabeth. And so that's important. We depend on other people to do things. And so I just think it's good when the attorneys come in, see you a few times before board, but understand that they are busy, right? They have a lot of clients, right? And so they might not be able to come see you as much as you want them or you think they should come see you, right? Because we have this image in our head that, oh, they're supposed to see me maybe 10, 20 times before board, right? But that's that selfish thinking, because we ain't the only clients that they have. It's thousands of people that's incarcerated, literally thousands upon thousands, right? And it's not enough attorneys. And so just stay ready, be prepared, prepare yourself, and work with your attorney. Ask questions. Family members, ask questions. If you don't understand something, call the attorney, send an email, whatever you do. Ask the attorney questions, but it's up to us to make sure we do what we do.
I want to share something real quick. I was a gang member, very involved, and when I chose to disassociate myself from my friends, my so-called friends, and I told the board that I no longer was a gang member, I was asked on three different occasions, why did you join the gang? Not why did you leave, because they know I left because I wanted to come home, and I know I couldn't trust the people who were in the gang with me, but why did you join the gang? And I used to say, well, I just like hanging out with these guys. I came up with all kind of crazy stuff, really. But, and I'm gonna say how important the attorney as well as us going to the groups are, because the groups gave me the ingredients that I needed, but the attorney continued to ask me the questions that the board asked me. And I came to a startling reality that when I joined the gang at a really young age, first of all, I was not happy with myself, first and foremost. Secondly, I was seeking a substitute family. And the third thing is that I have poor associates. So these three things combined made me become very vulnerable to the peer pressure and everything else that happened inside the gang life. Now, I wouldn't have got that without an attorney. I wouldn't have got that. I wouldn't have. Right. And I thank God for the attorney who took the time to read my transcript and show me this, because I said the right thing. I just didn't have it in order. But I must tell you this, family members, what did you do to get out of that train of thought? Not only did I have to disassociate from the people who I was familiar with, I was working in a concerted effort to do criminality. I had to start thinking positively about myself. And I had to realize that my family was sufficient for me. I don't need a substitute family. I mean, and it came together. And again, I just want to say this because, we really push rehabilitation. We really, just try to motivate and encourage people to take on this cognitive behavior and really know yourself, self-knowledge. If you don't take that advice from people who's doing this as a profession, you will never get out of prison. Never. I would have never gotten out of prison because I had to learn to stand alone. I had to learn to honor my family. I had to learn to seek pro-social people. But this is not the kind of verbiage that you get in a prison setting. So I had to get it from people who were professional as well as the board, and then take it back to our think tanks the way we used to do, Sean, and say, man, what are they talking about pro-social people? Because I never believed I was anti-social. They're like, you're anti-social. I love people. I'm in a gang.
Like, no, I'm not.
I just say, we're 1,000 strong. I know I can't be anti-social. We love each other. Because I didn't know that anti-social meant that I went against the society norms. I mean, it's just certain things that we have to really learn.
Right.
So it's important that an attorney comes in and just, again, lays it out to us. And it's more important that we embody it, internalize, so that when we're in front of that board, we can come directly from the heart, not just from the mind, but from the heart, because you want them to see your sincerity. You want them to see how honest you are. And you can't be honest and sincere if you're not dealing with honest and sincere people.
So, Daryl, you said something that kind of sparked something. You said that I had to stand alone, right? And all men, people incarcerated, they're scared to stand alone. It's scary.
Absolutely.
It's scary because that's why we got all these buddies, right, that we associate with, because we don't want to stand alone. Another reason we want to stand alone, we got other gang members that we go against in there, right? Don't want to stand alone. Got to have somebody to have your back. But it takes courage to stand alone. And you can do it. All you got to do is just believe in yourself. If don't nobody else believe in you, you have to believe in you. Because can't nobody believe in you if you don't believe in you, right? And so we had the courage the same way we had the courage to do all the other criminality stuff that we was doing, we had to have the courage to stand alone. And it was scary. Don't get me wrong. It was scary, right? But man, it was a peace of mind that I believe me and Daryl got standing alone. And then we got to sit outside the box and look in, and it became crazy. And we would look at things and be like, dang, was we doing that? That's stupid. Like, that is retarded. Was I really? Oh, no wonder people was looking at, it was crazy, right? Right? But standing alone, trust me, it's scary. But one thing me and Daryl realized, we really wasn't alone.
Absolutely.
We really wasn't
Absolutely.
alone. We had each other. We had other people who was going to groups. So we just left. Okay. Elizabeth was funny. So we had, we had, only thing we did, it was just, we left this side over here, which is the criminality thinking people. And we just went over here to the people who thought with humanity and empathy and compassion and love, right? And so that's what was scary, because we were used to this over here. This over here was normal. Hurting people, lying, cheating, whatever we was doing in the criminal underworld, right? That was normal. So when we say standing alone, it is disassociating yourself from that lifestyle and learning a new lifestyle. Yes, it's scary. It's scary, but you can do it if you surround yourself around people like that. And so just remember, for the families and for those that's incarcerated, you're really not standing alone. It may feel like that, right? But you're really not. And me and Daryl, we thought we were standing alone, and just right now, it just, the light bulb went off. Like, me and Daryl had each other, like, every day. Like, we had other people, but me and Daryl had each other. Like, we talked every single day. On Saturdays was our day. We would make a little spread, eat, and that was big boy talk. That was us getting on each other about activities that we had seen each other do, or attitudes, or something we said, because we didn't speak about things around other people. It was only between me and him. And it wasn't, oh, you just trying to judge me. It wasn't like that, because we knew that we came from a place of love, and we came from a place where Daryl knew that I wanted to see him go home. I knew that Daryl wanted to see me go home and be with my family, right? And so I'm just realizing that, Daryl, that we had each other, like, all the way. Even when I left the yard and went to Frank Yard, right? We were still in contact. We still had each other, right? And so you're really not standing alone. You're just switching crowds. And it might feel lonely at that time, because you're really not used to this side over here, right? But it's okay. It's okay. You'll be all right.
If I may, before Michelle and Elizabeth give us their wonderful professional perspective, standing alone means joining the pro-social movement. It means, I learned, like I may mention, I used to say, man, we're 1,000 strong. But I learned there's 50,000 people who's waiting for me to join their team and just be law-abiding citizens and enjoy life without looking over their shoulders.
Exactly.
That's how I live now, but I had to tap into that. And again, I had an attorney who just asked me, like, what are you thinking? Don't you want to come out and just live a regular life and have and drive a car and pay bills and enjoy life? And to most people, that's a burden. But for me, I have so much confidence now. So much confidence in following the law and paying my bills and being responsible for me, because I lived a life that was full of irresponsibility. So, when we, and again, and in separating or disassociating, we were right there with our peers, watching them. And I learned that I was a true leader, because many people followed our footsteps. Many people came to our classes as a result of us stepping aside from them. but I would not have done it without the understanding that I received, first and foremost from my attorney, and then from the board when they denied me 7 times. I mean, because they told me exactly what I needed to do. So,
and for some of the men who changed their lives in there and that was walking that walk.
That's right. That's
that
right.
we were
So
trying to get to.
I know Michelle and Elizabeth are face to face with many clients who don't listen to the advice, go to the or pretend to listen, go to the board and flop. Michelle, Elizabeth, what is your perspective on that?
Michelle.
Who wants to go first? I'll go. Okay. I thought Elizabeth was going to start talking. Sorry.
I love to have
Well, for
Elizabeth.
me, I think obviously you have to do a lot of work on your own because we can't do it for you. But I ask my clients when they meet with me just to try to be a team. I always tell my clients that it doesn't matter who hired me, if it's the state, your family, it doesn't matter. We're in this together. And so we have to talk about everything together openly and honestly. We have to make all decisions together, but the ultimate decision lies with my client because that's whose freedom we're fighting for. You know, I get to go home every night and I really understand that there's a big difference there. So I defer to my clients for the ultimate decision, but I try to give them the information that they're going to need before they have to go to a hearing and get denied 7 times.
Woo.
You know, there's a lot of information out there. And if you can come into your meeting with your lawyer, just open, not like you're with your friends on the yard, not even like you're in a visit with your family, just come in there and be yourself, who you are when you're with yourself, and be as open and honest as you can, which is difficult because you don't know us from Adam if we're appointed to you. Sometimes it's on the phone, sometimes it's on video, and it's difficult to open up. And I get that. But if you can try and do it, we can help you more if you're really open with us.
I agree. I agree. Elizabeth?
Here's the big takeaway as well, and that is human nature. I should have turned this thing off because now I can't take myself seriously. We as humans, number one, I don't know very many people who can take criticism well. Number one, when I meet a client that can take criticism well, or even
Constructive criticism, you mean?
it doesn't matter. I think that's just one of those namby-pamby, overly psyched ways of just saying criticism is criticism. If it's an ad hominem attack, then that's different. But criticism is you don't have insight. You think that, you understand your character defects, but you've only identified one. Criticism is criticism, but we don't, as humans, take criticism well. I don't, my husband doesn't, my clients don't. It is a rare client that can come to a meeting and really sit down and white knuckle it and take notes and go, well, that was really horrible. I didn't want to hear that. I wanted her to tell me I got this. I'm already there. I'm already granted. And when they're able to go, wow, I didn't see any of this coming. I didn't think, I had any more things to work on, but says, okay, I'm going to go work on this stuff. And there's a big difference. And those are a rare client, by the way. We don't, as humans, take responsibility for our actions. We have a very hard time saying, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I was, out of line. Very difficult. Again, a very rare human that can do that. And so those kinds of clients are going to have so much a more robust experience with the lawyer if they can do that. Because I'll tell you what most of these lawyers are probably doing, and that is the minute they have a client that is resistant, not taking the criticism, oh, you're against me. Not sitting there waiting for the attorney to say, oh yeah, you've got this. The minute the attorneys have that reaction, attitude, or whatever, I'm just going to say we, because I don't want to say lack of responsibility, but the majority of attorneys are going to just say, all right, That's fine. You are where you're at, but now you're going to lack the benefit of the attorney saying, oh, I've got a client that wants to engage. I've got a client that really cares about getting paroled. He wants to listen. She wants to listen. And you're going to go further with that client. You're going to go, okay, you could take that. Let's go and add it on, add some more and add some more and add some more. And let's really get you to a place where you're going to be found suitable versus the guy that pushes back. You get the negative attitude. You get the, oh, you're against me. Oh, you're state appointed. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're garbage, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to be, okay, you got this. If you got this, great. What would you like from me? And then you've lost that very important engagement from a lawyer that might actually give a shit about you. And also, again, like either Michelle said or Daryl or somebody, we want to win. We want wins, right? We want to put a client in front of the board and they look good, because when they look good, we look good. Even though it was 20 years of your programming that got there, we ultimately get all the glory for some reason. The attorney got me a date. The attorney got me a date. Maybe you got you a date because you were willing to listen to the attorney saying you don't have everything done yet, but you can get it done before we go to board, or you probably can't get it done before we go to board, and maybe you should just take an extra year and get it done before you go to board, or whatever that is. Because Tracy Lum will tell you, and I think it's on her flyers or on her card or on her website or somewhere, she says, I don't care what lawyer you are, we can't fix 20 years of bad programming in 4 months, 6 months, 7 months, 1 year. That ain't going to happen. So if you come with no programming or a lack of effort or a real deep lack of insight, insight's tricky. But again, it's not the lawyer's job to give you the insight into why you have these character defects. It's his or her job to say, your insight lacks depth. We really need some more connecting the dots here. It's how can we help you connect the dots? Not by playing your psychologist, not by playing your facilitator, not by playing the role of your accountability partner, by saying something is missing here. I think more exploration is needed. Maybe it's a character defect that you're not identifying. Maybe we can identify it together, maybe not. Again, that's not our role. Our role is to say something's missing. So we're there to navigate. You have a domestic violence crime, on your rap sheet, even if it's just an arrest and you were released because your wife didn't show up or the girlfriend didn't show up. We're there to say, you might want to take a domestic violence class because they're probably going to ask you about this, because that's one of the top 2 reasons why people get returned. And that can be a hot button trigger for a lot of guys and gals. So, and also it's you're sort of misinformed if you think that a lawyer needs to come and see you 20 times. A good lawyer with a good client can get the job done in 1 meeting. I'm not saying that's ideal. I'm just saying it can happen. 1 good handout with 1 good meeting, maybe a follow-up call or a follow-up letter. It can happen. So there's it has to be this many meetings. It has to be this much of stuff. It has to be, she needs to become the self-help guru for you or whatever, but she can help you by saying, have you told your family that you've been using all the money they've been sending you all these years to buy your heroin? And if not, that might be a conversation you need to have before they prepare a letter of apology saying he's just been a model sober inmate for the last 10 years. That's a big problem. That's something that a lawyer can point out for you before your hearing. So it's not the commissioner pointing it out and you going, gulp, holy crap, I did not see that coming. And that's a 5-year denial right there. So, that's about all I have on that for right now. But again, like Daryl and Sean says, listen, please listen, be open-minded about the process. If you just have an attitude that that lawyer's just the so-called dump truck, then that's probably the experience that you're going to attract to yourself. And that's just basic law of attraction rules. So I will let everybody else sort of round it out and we'll wrap it up. How about you,
So
Daryl?
Elizabeth, you said something I just want to tap real quick and let everybody go. You hit a key point that people are not able to take criticism. And so I'm gonna tell you like this. Me and Daryl were like the same way. You try to correct us. We wasn't trying to hear that. What? You don't try to put me down to make yourself look bigger, you know. But I'm people who really change inside, right? One of the biggest things you have to do is learn to take criticism. And I know sometimes people can criticize you in a manner that hurts your feelings, right? And so we have to be able to take criticism in order for us to see things in our life. Like Daryl was saying, Tracy she was criticizing him, whether she had her different methods or not, right? She was criticizing him. Not in a bad way, but it was up to Daryl to receive what she was saying to him, right? The same thing with you, Elizabeth, on me, right? The same thing with Daryl on me, with me on Daryl. If me and Daryl couldn't accept each other's criticism, we wouldn't be here sitting right here today. Period. Because me and him did the most work with each other than anybody, right? Like we were on each other. But I don't even want to say we criticized it. We just corrected each other, right? We gave each other advice, but it is criticism. But we just was like, hey, consider this. And so that's one of the languages that we use in our groups and when we were on the yard and even out here. So we just tell our people, just consider this and then go on with it, right? So that way they don't feel like they're being criticized or put down, because you're right, Elizabeth, people can't take that at all. They puff up, flare up, they block out, and they miss the whole message. And the message was for them, and it was right and correct. And they might go through 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 6 months, whatever, through the same crap because they missed the message because they couldn't accept criticism, right? And so you're right. And so I'm going to tell you, the ones who are out on the streets, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 99, 98% of us, we learned how to accept criticism. It's okay. All they're doing is correcting us for us to better ourselves. That's all criticism is. No matter how some people may give it to us to try to put us down, just stop, breathe, think, and say, okay, is this God saying something to me? Like, do I really need to look at this? And sometimes everybody's not right with the criticism, right? But that's why you got to self-evaluate yourself and look, okay, I don't see that. Ask Elizabeth, Daryl, Michelle, do you guys see this? Someone said this that about me, that I'm doing this, or I need to do this, right? Can you guys see this? If they all say no, then that person is wrong. Because then sometimes people do put you down to try to lift themselves up, right? But the attorneys are not doing that. They don't need to put you down to lift themselves up. They're there to help you learn more about yourself and help you get a date and get a win under their belt also at the same time and feel good about themselves, because that's part of them giving back. It's helping you, right? And so that's all I have to say.
Before we wrap it up, there's something that really needs to be understood by both the attorneys, not both, by the attorneys, by the clients, family members. When we go into criminality, because we know right from wrong, we give ourselves what's called permission statements I give myself permission to break the law. What that does is it makes me disregard what I tell myself is right and wrong, what other people tell me is right and wrong. It's called closed thinking in CBT. And in closed thinking, it makes me no longer be receptive to anything positive or criticism, as Sean and Elizabeth and Michelle is all talking about. And it makes me also reject my own self-criticism. So one of the things that I think clients and family need to understand, do I still exercise closed thinking? Because we can speak until our faces turn red, but if a person's thought process is closed, nothing's going to generate from it. And as a criminal, we take a victim stance. And I want to say this, the most hardcore individuals I've come across they take the victim stance, which means they blame everybody else for everything that happened to them. I'm a victim, okay? They refuse to take responsibility for anything happened in their life by blaming other people. So I realized that the most toughest, the hardest cores are the most cowards, because it takes courage to be responsible for the self. To be a man, to own it, own my actions, own the consequences, correct it if I don't like it. If you want to stay in prison forever. But if you want to get out of prison, own it. Take responsibility, own the consequences, and do the opposite, and you're going to get the opposite. Just like that. Just like that. That's all I want to say. Michelle, Elizabeth, please take it.
I just want to say, I always appreciate when my clients are open with me, and especially when you're dealing with your lawyer, tell them things that you're concerned about for the hearing and for your future, and what challenges you think you're going to face, so that we can guide our representation and preparation to how we're going to best assist you. So if you've had a hearing in the past, and let's just say you didn't have a good experience with your lawyer, or you didn't feel that it was beneficial to you, tell your new lawyer why. What worked for you, what did not work for you. Communicate, because like I said at the beginning, we're a team. And so if you don't tell your teammate what you're doing, they can't help you. So work as a team with your lawyer the best that you can, and really just try to be open and honest. Everything you tell us is confidential. We're not sharing your secrets with anybody. We're not going to throw it back in your face to make you feel bad. We want to help you get out, and we want to help you be successful in life.
Sounds good. Let's wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in. We really appreciate the listeners, and I appreciate all of you, Daryl, Sean, and Michelle.
Thank you.
So we will see each other next week. Thank you for turning up again. Everybody, enjoy your Sunday.
All righty. Have a good one.
All right.